You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, happy Friday. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. How was your week? Oh, what a week, hey? I hope you had a good one. If it was all over, like mine, let's hope for a better week next week. But listen, thank you for joining us here on 702. We'll try make this end of the week better for you, all right? The 702 open line starts right now on 011-883-0702. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note if you wish on 072-702-1702. What are you grateful for this week? This is a question I ask you every single Friday because we do Gratitude Friday on the 702 open line every Friday. This is where you can tell us what you are grateful for this week. Give us a call or send us a WhatsApp voice note. We want to celebrate with you. Are you taking part in the women's shutdown today? The GBV shutdown led by Women for Change is taking place this morning. I've seen a few ladies wearing black in the office today. So there are a few that are participating. Are you participating? Participants, I think, are meeting at several points across the country. The organization is basically asking government to declare gender-based violence a state of disaster. Yesterday, you may have heard the president saying GBV was being treated like a national crisis, which the organization has acknowledged as an extraordinary moment, but the shutdown does continue. How are you participating in this shutdown? Are you wearing black? Have you changed your profile picture to purple? Are you taking to the streets? Will you lay down for 15 minutes? Because that's what some others will be doing as well. Let me know. Here's a question about what's coming up this weekend. What do you think should be the attitude of our government towards America? Because, wow. What do you think should be our government's attitude towards America? The vice president was meant to come to the G20. Then the president, Trump, said the US won't be represented. So it's a total boycott. South Africa respected that and made it clear that the plans continue with or without the US. World leaders confirmed that they will attend the summit. Those who can't attend have sent their high-level delegations. And I don't think the US president liked that, because he probably thought that by boycotting the summit, other world leaders are going to follow suit. Instead, G20 members sent their senior delegations. The EU is here, the group of seven, their allies in the BRICS Plus formation, you name it. So the summit continues, and I think the US administration is probably feeling left out. So then enter the next tactic. The US then says they won't recognize any joint declaration of leaders at the end of the summit because there won't be consensus, because they won't be there. But they're the ones that have opted not to participate. So why can't the leaders who are participating have consensus and agree on a joint statement? In fact, I suspect that the US is going to try to put pressure on some G20 countries not to support a joint declaration. I mean, there are some countries that have already expressed support for a declaration, which is great. Countries like, I think, Germany, France, the UK as well, if I'm not mistaken. But there are countries that may crumble under President Trump's pressure when it comes to the joint declaration. I mean, some of our countries, there are countries out there that don't want to annoy the US president. Now, if that doesn't work, and so far it doesn't seem like it's working, if that's what's been happening behind the scenes, the US administration then will need another plan. And there is another plan. Late yesterday, the US said they will send a charge d'affaires to receive the gavel, which represents the transfer of power. Because remember, America takes over the G20 presidency next year. I mean, my goodness. I'm actually fearing what's going to happen next year. Forget the fact that we may not be invited. I see that. But they are probably next year going to push for a more linear outfit of the G20. They're probably going to push for its reconfiguration, which may include the removal of the EU, the removal of the AU. Who knows? Anything is possible. What happens even to the declarations or the resolutions at the end of the summit? It's going to be difficult to actually implement those when America is chairing the presidency. Did you hear what the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, did you hear what she said yesterday about our president?
The United States is not participating in official talks at the G20 in South Africa. I saw the South African president running his mouth a little bit against the United States and the president of the United States earlier today, and that language is not appreciated by the president or his team. The ambassador or the representative of the embassy in South Africa is simply there to recognize that the United States will be the host of the G20. They are receiving that send-off. They are not there to participate in official talks, despite what the South African president is falsely claiming.
Did she just say our president is running his mouth? I'll come back to that in a moment. So, the presidency spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya, tweeted yesterday that the president is not going to be, transferring power to like a chargé d'affaires. Like, he's not going to give the gavel to a chargé d'affaires. They are obviously sending compared to what they were planning to do in the beginning, a much junior delegation. That's the view of the South African government, a junior delegation to the G20 summit. And I wonder what that is going to mean then for the weekend. Like, should South Africa say to the US, listen, this is not going to work. If you're going to be sending that delegation, you might as well not come. Or does South Africa then say, okay, come through, we'll make the arrangements for you, but just know that this is not going to work. And maybe the US will have to fetch the gavel at DERCO's headquarters. But at what point do we stop taking the disrespect? I mean, for a press secretary to refer to our president as running his mouth? I mean, I'm sure many South Africans heard this and probably said, hold my cup or hold my beer. Because what did she just say? At what point do we stop the disrespect? And I'm happy to have seen the South Africans in their numbers defending this country and defending the president. And just yesterday, we were actually talking about just the negativity that sometimes engulfs us. And I was asking you, what are the things that sometimes when during the moment of negativity and confusion, you look at and you think, I'm grateful to be coming from this country. And for me, it's in moments like this when we can pick up when there's BS, we call it out. And we say, not in South Africa's name. And when the president puts his foot down in defense of this country and its sovereignty, we rally behind him. And I'm glad to see some South Africans doing that. Right? Black and white, who stand together against any form of bullying and say, that's not going to happen. Or you are not going to call our president that. Have some respect. So, do we become petty towards America? Because I do think if you play a petty game with America, you're probably not going to win that. Are we not punching above our weight? Or do you become the bigger person in the room where just allow them to come, do the transfer of power, give them the gavel, let them go and take over the G20 presidency next year? Some people were suggesting that when this delegation comes, they must go and sit in the overflow area. I mean, is that how far we should go? Because that's now taking it much, much, much further. That's like pettiness at its worst. What do you think should be our approach? And are you one of those people who feel the need to defend this country in the face of disrespect like that, where a press secretary calls our president, tells the world that the South African president was busy running his mouth? With all his faults, that's not something I can respect and defend. This is our president who also deserves the same respect that America gives its own president. Give us a call on 011-883-0702.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
Morning, Clement. It's Norma. I'm just grateful to be alive, just to be counted amongst the living. It's a true blessing for me. That's what I'm grateful for. Thank you.
Hi, Clement. This is Heather from Constantia Kloof. I'm really grateful this week, with just in terms of the whole shutdown that's happening against GBV. I'm seriously grateful because on the 20th of November yesterday, my sister went to court because of her abusive husband who beat up her son, my nephew, and herself. I'm just grateful that she's alive, because she could have been one of the stats of, Me Too. We could be singing Violet and Jaden, being killed in the hands of an evil man. And I just hope, I'm really praying that the justice system really works, because the problem is within the courts. He's able to go and manipulate the situation, take and steal documents and files, and the courts allow him to do that. These perpetrators are also paying their way within the courts. So I think that's one of the things that we need to speak about.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Kustas, you calling from Midrand. What do you want to say about America? Good morning.
Clement, that the statement by that lady left a sour taste in my mouth, because this is what happens when you make spokesperson people that have got no maturity, because she personalizes politics. Politics is not something to personalize. You can disagree without going low and stuff like that. But for our government on Sunday, all they need to do is to make sure that the declaration passes. For me, the handover of the baton on Clement, they must so much just take it to Derko and keep it there. In his speech, he does not mention a handover. He appreciates the countries that are here. The smaller countries that might be fought behind closed doors, look, let's forgive those because they need the United States. But all in all, the South African government on Sunday must just say how smooth the year went without the U.S., how nicely it was. And our president must just say, you know what, we've made so much strides. Yeah. We appreciate every nation that came through. For those who did not come, have a nice day. You could not succeed to make us to fail.
Here's the challenge, Kustas.
Yes.
The president wants a joint declaration, which is normally what happens at the end of any G20 summit. Trump doesn't want that. And I fear that the US president is going to try put pressure on certain world leaders who just don't have a backbone, or who are so beholden to America that they don't want to upset Trump. So if Trump calls a leader of a certain country and says, listen to me, you are going to oppose a joint statement. And those leaders may probably want to do that because they don't want to be seen to be taking a side against Donald Trump. And that is my biggest fear now. And also my second worry is, sure, there's going to be declarations at the summit, but the U.S. takes over the presidency next year. So doesn't that complicate the implementation of some of the resolutions? Because this now sits with the U.S. next year. Are we even going to be participants next year? Who knows? The U.S. are probably going to push for the EU and the AU to be removed and say, let's have a more linear, structured G20.
Yeah, I think, Clement, let's just make the South Africans aware. The Americans have been participating throughout the year in this matter. by the way. That's what the Minister of Health said. He said that they have been participating all along. It's not that they were not there. So they know what needs to be happening next year. So from a South African government, that's why I'm saying by now, they should be pushing to make sure that declaration on Sunday passes, because that's very critical. If it doesn't pass as an Clement, it will not be nice, you know what I mean? But because the Americans would have tried to scupper this thing. So that's what they're doing between now and Sunday. They must push for that. But all in all, whether we're invited next year, Clement, is neither here nor there. We've done our job. Everybody came into the country, and the year went smooth, and a lot of these B20s, G20 went smooth. So let's pat ourselves in the bed and then take it from there. What comes next, we'll see.
Sure, Christus in Midrand. Maureen in Captain Park. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Maureen, go ahead.
I was saying that Mr. Trump should get on and rule his own country and leave us alone. We can do it on our own. If we look for all the good in each other, then we can do it. This week I was invited to the Tembisa Hospital in honor of the preemie babies. They've got 91 premature babies. And with love and mother's milk, they can survive and become youngsters. And the amount of love I saw there, we laughed, we danced, we sang, we ate, we did everything. You know what? If the rest of the world can see this, they will realize that South Africans are strong. Yeah. We're not going to all run away from this country. We love our country. We love each other. If we just put a bit of effort into it.
Absolutely. Maureen, couldn't have said it better. Thank you for your call in Kempton Park. 24 after 9.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
27 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let's continue with your calls on 011-8830-702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. John, you are in Winchester Hills. What are your thoughts? Hi.
Morning, Clement. Listen, we've got a white supremacist, a racist in the Oval Office currently. The nicest thing is not a king. He's not going to be there for life. He's got only 2 years left in his administration. Let's take the pain. Let's take the racist treatment, the disrespect for now. But the new administration is coming. This guy is under pressure from his own domestic policies. The Epstein files, the cost of living in the U.S. He's trying to divert attention using South Africa by lying about what is happening in this country. We've got an opportunity to use this G20 for diplomatic ties, for economic ties, for economic improvement, for improving the life of the mostly disadvantaged, black South Africans. The so-called genocide, we know, the world knows there's no such. Africans are doing far, far much better compared to before 1994. Let this racist have his own America, which is also struggling, to get hold of, because people are tired of his racism. He's a racist, and he doesn't respect any African country. And he's trying by all means to act as if South America is still a superpower. America is not a superpower anymore. We are living in a global community. The G20 is to save that. That is why it's called the G20, the Global 20. And this global South is developing its economy with the likes of the EU, the BRICS. Let's partner with those who want to partner with us. And then on Sunday, when you hand over the baton to them, give it to them, not because you're afraid of them, to say to them, you've been exposed, you will never win against the ones who want peace and prosperity.
All right, John in Winchester Hills, thank you for your thoughts.
Good morning, Clement and the team there. The consensus will be reached. United States think G20 is the UN, where they veto every move. Unfortunately, it is not. We carry on, and as for the spokesperson for the White House, she's very rude and cultured. We will never be bullied by anyone in this country. Willie in Pretoria.
Morning, Clemson. Your question, what should our attitude be towards America? Our government is not perfect. We are complaining every day about SA government, but here I beg them 100%. We cannot every time we are begging America. It's like we are not our own country. So everything now Ramaphosa must back. So they are right. If the USA want to come, it's fine. If they don't come, it's also fine. Life must go on.
Good morning, Clement. Clement, Aragiwe ka Sesotho. Ngwananyana wa tella, hana tlhompho, hana mekgwa, o hlolehile, o photoleile. Imagine saying a head of state is running his mouth and you don't appreciate that kind of talk. Do you appreciate what is coming out of your own mouth when you're saying a head of state is running his mouth? Imagine the disrespect, how low you have to stoop just to say that. This is why nobody respects that country and nobody takes their president serious. Yes, they have power, but it's just a circus there.
Yeah, they mustn't disrespect our president like that. With all his faults, he remains the head of state for this country, was constitutionally elected. And I think we bear responsibility at some level to defend that, because that's part of defending our sovereignty. I was shocked. Actually, I'm not shocked to see. Ernest Roots, where is he from? Is he AfriForum or what? Ernest Roots. He tweeted, right, responding to this White House press secretary saying the president is running his mouth. Ernest Roots says, are we not allowed to criticize the president of a sovereign state? Oh, he left AfriForum apparently. He used to be at AfriForum. Oh, this is the guy who went to America and continued with the lies about what's happening in South Africa. Oh, they're so exhausting. He's now trying to say, why do we have a problem with what the press secretary has said? Because, are we not allowed to criticize? That is not criticism. That is not criticism. That is pure disrespect. And for him not to get that is actually not surprising. It's 9:32.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
23 minutes before 10 o'clock.
Good morning, Clement. Irrespective who and what our president is, that is my president. No other leader or person must disrespect our president like that. The same respect that they give to other world leaders, they have to give the same respect to our leader, Cyril Ramaphosa. I am not happy that they are bad-mouthing him on a global stage for everyone to hear. He should get the same respect that all the other world leaders get. That is our president. Thank you.
This is Rob from Sandton. With all due respect, respect is earned. Reputation is earned. We've been hanging out with the wrong crowd, and that is why America does not respect us. We hang out with Iran, with Hamas, a proscribed terrorist organization. We hang out with Russia, who has a despotic, murderous leader who has no qualms about butchering innocent civilians. These are the people that we hang out with. So America is not going to respect us. That is the reality. And America, with all due respect to the previous caller, is not a circus. We are the circus. We are the banana republic, not America. Thank you.
What a joke, my darling. No, really, it is a joke, because you want to talk about respect being earned? What respect are we talking about here? You are saying that we're hanging out with Russia. Do you know that Donald Trump hung out with Russia in Alaska? You're saying we're hanging out with people that are butchering people. Do you know that the US president just 2-3 days ago was with the Saudi prince and defending the Saudi prince from questions that are being asked about the Saudi journalist who was killed and chopped into pieces. The the American agency, CIA, produced a report that indicated that the Saudi prince may have had something to do with that. Of course, he's denied that. But the point is, Donald Trump didn't even want to take a question about that. And he said, that person who died was very controversial. This is someone who died in very tragic circumstances. Nobody deserves to die like that, no matter how much you disagree with them. And yet the US president says, that person you're asking us about was very controversial. And the Saudi prince had nothing to do with that. And was calling a journalist who was asking questions about the tragic death of that journalist, called him fake news. But you want to talk to us about respect and how our leaders have been hanging out with problematic characters? And that's the thing about double standards as well. You can never provide any proof that President Cyril Ramaphosa has somehow sat down even with Hamas. President Cyril Ramaphosa was one of the people that condemned what happened even on October 7. But you will choose to ignore that because it doesn't play to your narrative, right? Because anybody else who speaks about the war in the Middle East and how tragic it is, anybody who pushes for a two-state solution is seen as what? Problematic, except, of course, the US, because they're also pushing for it, even though Israel is trying to defend it. There are double standards here. And I bet you if Donald Trump sat down with Hamas tomorrow, and his team has done that because they've had to negotiate a peace deal. If he did it tomorrow himself, you wouldn't hear WhatsApp voice notes like that where someone says, you are hanging out with, what did he call it? You hang up with murderers. When Donald Trump sits down with the Russian president and cozies up with him and hosts him, rolls up the red carpet for him, you don't send a voice note like that. But if South Africa continues with bilateral relations with a country like that, you've got a problem with it. So maybe you need to check your double standards. Koketso, you're in Johannesburg. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. I think I'm absolutely livid at that voice note from that Rob guy from Sanford. I honestly think we need to start calling out people that are not patriotic to the country. You know, we can have our issues in this country and our issues with the policies and the political leadership. But to say that South Africa is a circus, South Africa is a banana republic, what is this? When he says America, the type of people we're hanging out with are not okay. That's why America is judging us because we don't choose wisely. Is America itself choosing wisely? America itself was now embroiled in a genocide. They've been funding a genocide in Gaza, So if people have to start judging other people based on their foreign policy, where are we going to get? Countries need to respect each other's sovereign right to choose who they want to associate and affiliate with and not want to bully people, your countries into giving up their sovereignty. So I'm making me quite disgusted at the tone that we're getting from some South Africans that almost feel like they want this G20 to fail because it's like, then we will have deserved it, And it's like, that for me, it's just not patriotic at all. It's not nationalistic. And I have an issue with it. Because it's like, you call yourself a South African, but yet you're not patriotic. So what gives you the right to call yourself a South African?
And why are you still here? Like why are you still here?
Exactly, Clement. Exactly. If this country is so disgusting for you and a banana republic and
then get on a flight and go be a refugee in the US.
Stay in this country? Yeah, exactly. So we need to call out these type of people, Clement, because you know what, people go out, especially when you travel a lot, you see it overseas. People, particularly, and I'll mention it, white South Africans talk down our country a lot overseas. They say all the negative things. And you know what, Clement, every country has negative things, right? There's no perfect country. We ourselves also have negative things. But people to talk down our country and continually run it down, I take issue with it.
Yeah, same here, Koketso. And just to be clear, it's not all white South Africans who talk bad about this country. So there are white South Africans who love this country, who care about it, who are advocates of this country, who are patriotic. There are many of them out there in this country, out of this country. So I think it's important to distinguish. Of course, there are others who are just who just don't care. I mean, guys, if there's one person who has shown maturity, if there's one person who has been calm throughout this entire debacle with the US, is our president. How was he treated in the White House? That was wild how he was treated. And yet he still chose to remain calm. He chose to maintain his calm. Even in this debacle, even now with this thing with the US where they're coming but they're not, and okay, they're sending this delegation but they're just coming for the handover, the president still maintains calm. We're still negotiating. We still think the US must play its part. If he was petty, he would have said, don't come. He would have said, they told us at the last minute that we must make arrangements for them. We're not going to do that. But you will not see that because already you don't see this country. You don't see him as a leader. Which makes me wonder, why are you here? Like, what's your relation to this country? Because I would believe people are here because they really want to fight for this country. They want to make it work. And that's not to say our president is perfect or this country is perfect. You know how many times we talk about things that are not working in this country. You know how many times we criticize our president. But come on, be a little objective sometimes. It's 13 minutes before 10.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
10 minutes before 10 o'clock. Nabil, you calling us from Pretoria. Good morning.
Hey, Clement, I trust you well.
Sure, go ahead.
Clement, maybe just two comments. The first one is around our president, my president. I am extremely proud of the way that he's been handling this whole debacle with the Americans and with integrity and with respect, and you'll always be remembered for that as an ethical leader, the way he dealt with that. Sure, not all of us might agree on the way he's done things. Some of the things we might even say he was too slow, etc. But if one considers everything and local politics, if President Ramaphosa went in with a big broom and tried to sweep clean off the bat, with all the factions in the ANC, he would not have lost one term as ANC president. Guaranteed. But I'm proud that he's laid a foundation and hopefully others come will follow on to it. Then Donald Trump and the previous caller that said South Africa and we sit with unethical characters and murderers and the rest. Did he ever look at the American president? Does he read? The problem with America, and I get a sense, Donald Trump is all about white superiority, white lives matter, colonialism. Because the fight even with Israel is whites against non-whites. We don't want to give people of color. So Donald Trump is probably the most unethical leader in American history. And we should never ever be associated with him. But I do believe our president will do the right thing, carry our South African flag high, and deal with America with the required respect, and not on petty basis, because there we never win anything.
Yeah. It's never been tit for tat with our president. And sometimes, yes, it's frustrating because you want him to put the foot down and, rise up and be firm. But as I said, if there's one person who has demonstrated maturity in this entire issue, it's been our president. It really has been our president. Kwabena, you're calling from Little Falls. Go ahead. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. I have just two little suggestions. If America is sending their chargé d'affaires to receive the gavel, then maybe our president should give the gavel to maybe the DG of DECO to hand it over to that chargé d'affaires. Number two, that White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, maybe she be declared a persona non grata in South Africa until such time that she can apologize to our president and the people of South Africa for that level of disrespect. Those are my two little suggestions.
Kobena, thank you so much for your suggestions. I don't see that happening. That's why I said, unless we're willing to play tit for tat with the US, but if you're going to be petty, play a petty game with them, I don't think we're going to win that game. I mean, they've got more leverage. They're more powerful. They need us, but we need them more. AGOA is hanging in the balance. There's a lot we don't want to compromise in the relationship between the two countries, and that's always been the position of our president. But they feel like they almost have got nothing to lose. So I bet you, I mean, our ambassador is gone, chased out of the country. I bet you if this was our press secretary, if this was Vincent Magwenya who said that about Donald Trump, the US president, and said the US president was running his mouth, his visa would probably be revoked by this morning. But that's not how we've responded as South Africa. And yet you still have other people who think this country is behaving worse in this scenario. Moeletsi, you're in Davidton. Hi.
So, Clement, how are you?
Sure, man. Go ahead.
Good. About respect, Clement. Respect. You see, me as a person, I respect Ramaphosa and I sympathize with him. That statement, the statement that was said by that woman, it's really unfortunate, and you know, I take a very strong exception to that. However, Rona, South Africans, we've opened our president to disrespect by other people. We've been calling him Umfana, right on national TV, calling him a thief. Now, what do we expect, Clement? What do we expect of it? I wanted to say that short.
All right. Moeletsi in Davidton, thank you. More of your WhatsApps.
702. What is going on here is Donald Trump again is exposing himself and his administration to be hypocrite. And what I'm happy about is that the world is now here to come and witness that there is no white genocide in South Africa. The world is here. The world is here to witness that. You know, that's just a testimony that we should all be happy for, that is going to apply after the G20. Because now after the G20, he will be having nothing to say against the South Africans. So it will be clear that he's got proper hate for South Africa for no apparent reason. You understand? As for our president, I'm very proud of him. He must just stand his ground. We will see what the consensus is during the weekend. And I think we should just pray that the best comes out of it. Also for Malady.
Hey, Madimecha, it's T here. We should not be bullied by the states. And that lady, that press secretary, Catherine Leavitt, as far as I'm concerned, she's persona non grata in South Africa.
Morning, Clement. You know, I'm not the ANC supporter. I'm not the Cyril Ramaphosa supporter, but he's still President Ramaphosa, and he's still our representative, and he's still there for the country. And at the end of the day, is how you treat him and how America treats him is how they want to treat the rest of South Africa and feel the rest of Africa at the end of the day. And how they're doing it at the moment is I have no time for it. I have no time for it. It's this school ground tactics of a school bully with a rich dad trying to poke at someone, and that's how it feels. We're just gonna make them mad the whole time, and I don't think it is right, and I don't think that's how you do it. And I'm glad if President Ramaphosa puts his foot down and says, listen, this is not what's happening, and don't take this trash talk from the US. I'm 100% on his side.
Absolutely. It's silly what's happening. And if you really respect this country, you respect the sovereignty of this country, you respect the president, whether you disagree with him or not, you recognize that he's a constitutionally elected president, then you stand behind him in the face of the silliness we're seeing. It's 2 minutes before 10.